Hey Umbraco fans, in this video I'm going to show you some of the advanced features of the data list editor, which is part of Contentment. This will be like part 4 of this little mini series, so I'll jump straight in. In the previous videos, if you'd seen them, I talked about the data list, data source and list editor. In this one I'm going to show you how to make a custom data source. So the data source you get out of the box are these ones, which I've covered in a previous video. Flipping over to the documentation, there is once you skip past all the boilerplate stuff, there is saying how can I extend data list with my own stuff. You know, how can I pull in things from a different data source and use that. We've got a code snippet example for time zones, but I'll show you a slightly different one. So if I'll show you a different one where we can use the countries from .NET. So I will show this. So what I have done is I'm doing this in app code, so it's just part of the website. Didn't have to have a separate project to build or anything. It's just this is it. Some people hate this, but you know it works and it's fine. So what you do is you create a class and then you inherit from iDataList source, which is part of the Contentment namespace. And when you implement this in Visual Studio, I mean, you can do this in Notepad if you really want. It implements all of the different methods and you know, fields that you need to add. Obviously, these are all not implemented, so I will copy in from Notepad one that I built earlier, but I'll talk through it. So what this will do is the interface for iDataList source wants a name, a description, an icon, and these are the things that will get displayed in the list of the other items. There is ways you can configure fields for the extra options, so they're the ones for like the in the XML one for putting in the URL, and default values, so you can already pre-populate some of those. And you can also specify what overlay size you want, whether you want it to be a small, medium, or large. Overlay to come out, let's go with small, and then this is the guts of what needs to be done really. So what you will get here in get items is a dictionary of key value pairs of the config, and those config that config correlates to what those fields are. So like in terms like the XML one where you would have the URL, that's what would be passed through in here, whatever the alias is, to get the URL out of it. So for this one, this is so in one of the .NET namespaces for globalization, you can actually get all of the culture information. So you can get a list of all of the different regions throughout the world that .NET framework is aware of, and then list them out. So what we are doing here is using some link expressions to say get all the cultures. Select the region info from those cultures, and then from that region info, distinct by display name, which is because there's some countries that have got similar names. I can't remember exactly, but that's something you have to do. And then ordering them in alphabetical order, and then returning them as this data list item, which is Contentment's way of understanding what are the names and values of these items. So here I just want a display name, which would be the sort of the English name of this, and then for the value I just want the 2-letter region code. So for the UK it would be GB, or for the I was going to say for the US it would be the US. Okay, so if I save that, oh yeah, I gave it an icon as well, pre-picked earlier to make it look a bit more global. Okay, so if I come back, so that's been saved in my app code, so that should rebuild now. It might take a second to rebuild or so, but what we will see, like once this screen is reloaded, that it will appear in this list called countries. Okay, so now I have a data source. So what I get is .NET countries at the very top. If I select this, there's no fields for it, so it just adds that as just its own thing. There's no edit button, there's nothing to edit, but if I added fields to it, if I wanted to customize that in some way, I could do. Okay, and then the next bit is to give it a list editor. So let's pick the item picker, and let's just give this, let's find another globe, pick the globe, yeah, we say save. So if I come over to my content, we can see that I will have because I use the item picker, I will have an item, and then I can pick countries from here. So if I wanted to pick different countries, I could do. And that's how you would make a country picker.